So far we've been talking about income. Another interesting thing to look at is wealth. Someone's net wealth is the value of everything they own, like cars and maybe a house, minus the debt they owe on it, like a mortgage or a car payment. That would include student loans, for example. So just think in your head what the mean net wealth is in the U.S. and what the median net wealth is. And we already saw that the mean and median income, the mean was about 28% higher than the median. Um, so now we're going to go look at some government data on the wealth tab here. So this is in 2016. Actually, it goes back to 2010, then 2013, then 2016. So the median net wealth in the U.S. was $85,000. And the mean was $550,000. So the mean isn't just like 28% higher than the median. The mean is 6.5 times as big as the median. That was in 2010. And in 2013, it's even a bigger discrepancy between mean and median. And then in 2016, it's even bigger. So we must have some really high values pulling the mean so far up away from the median here. And it's getting more and more drastic across the years in this data set. So this is telling us that the distribution of net worth is really strongly skewed with a huge tail out to the right. If I remember correctly, this even includes people with a negative net wealth because of large student loans, for example. It's interesting to look at it broken out by how much education the head of the household has. You can see having a high school diploma, it gives you a big advantage over having no high school diploma. But it's roughly the same whether you have only some college but didn't finish college versus just having a high school diploma. It's about the same. But then having a college degree ends up with a huge increase in mean and median net wealth. And that's true across all of our years here. It's also interesting to look at the discrepancy by race. For white families, the median is $144,000, or households, I guess, where for black families or households, it's $17,000. So that's a ratio just between medians here, not even looking at the means, of about 8 to 1. And then the mean is about the same. So overall, it's looking like a discrepancy somewhere between kind of 7 and a factor of 7 and a factor of 10. That's not to say that all people in one race or another are poor or all people in one race or another are rich, but just the 50th percentile or the mean or the median certainly indicates a lot about what's going on with the histograms there. Let's go back and talk about some general principles for deciding should I use a mean or a median in this case. If the distribution is symmetric and no risk of outliers, which is kind of like the LSAT was going on here, then the median and the median are pretty much the same. You could use either one, but it's traditional to report the mean instead of the median there. If there is a risk of outliers, like if you had a distribution like this, but there was a chance of having one data point way out here or way out there, then it's usually better to use the median because it's robust against outliers or resistant to outliers. If the distribution is skewed, like the income distribution we saw for the household income data, then if you want to talk about a typical value, we use the median. If you're doing something where you're going to take totals, like the distribution of demand per day, and then you're going to total it up per week, the mean is all about totals, so even if the data is skewed, if you're going to be totaling stuff up, use the mean. If you're doing politics, just pick whichever one makes your point. And I'm kind of kidding there, but I bet you real politicians do that. Here's an example once. It's not actually a politician saying it. I think it was a journalist. And let's think about this from a mean and median point of view. GDP per person is saying GDP is kind of total spending across the whole nation, and per person is dividing by number of people. So that's basically a mean. Add stuff up, divide by the number of people. So here the mean is increasing, but it says people are still feeling squeezed in their budgets, which sounds more like a kind of typical value. So this is saying something about the mean versus the median. if two politicians are disagreeing about whether average income went up or went down, can they both be right? Think about that for a sec. It turns out maybe since they're both using the word average, maybe one means average as median and the other is thinking of average as mean. And you can have the mean go up but the median go down. So they can both be right, and they should both be more clear about what kind of average they're talking about.